Good afternoon. It's 4 o'clock on the 5th of February. This is the video for the 6th of February. It's interesting because in the last little while here, I've been having somebody trying to reach me to do an interview with me or have me interview them. And I don't want to get sidetracked, and I'm not going to wait till 4:44. I'm going to do it now because they keep trying to say, oh, I'm available right now. Well, I've planned this. I've been meditating on this subject all day, and it's a subject that goes back from when I first began my videos. And it's something that has been a major theme for me for a long time, even before I started doing the videos. Anyway, the title is Types of Law, Which is Best? As far as I know, natural law, the kind that is self-evident and upon which common laws are based, is the oldest and best form of law in the universe. It's the only kind of law, as I see it, that preserves and honors the rights of all individual expressions of source from which the law is derived. Most courts in today's world operate on unnatural law that gives certain people privileges to manipulate and control others. At least that is the claimed authority. Whether we call it admiralty law, maritime law, or some other name, it is derived from canon law, also known as ecclesiastical law. It's the law of hierarchy that permits activities that are seen as criminal based on natural common law. It creates a hierarchy of control, depriving those who are ignorant of their natural rights and justifying it. It's like adults preying on children because they don't know any better. As I see it, we are born with our natural rights, those unalienable rights that were self-evident to those who created the Republic for the United States of America, circa 1776. Law that goes back to back to source or prime creator is always superior to any law system devised by man that perpetrates injustice in the name of justice. That's how I see it. For those of you that have been listening to my videos for a long time, you know that this subject has come up again and again and again. Common law was the foundation for which the RUSA, the Republic for the United States of America, was trying to reestablish itself. Admiralty law is the current system that, again, it's based on hierarchy, it's based on control, and it's all goes back actually to Roman law or ecclesiastical law or canon law. It doesn't matter which one of those names you choose. There's a whole bunch of different names, but they're all the same thing. It's the law of levels of hierarchy, tiers of citizens, if you will, where the people that are in the know have greater rights than the people that are ignorant. Well, that's just simply a fallacy, as I see it, and it cannot be anything other than a fallacy. It's a system of control. And yet there are people in this world, good people, that still are fighting to say that admiralty law is a law of grace because it allows for you to be ignorant and to get punished until you see it. You know, it allows extortion, it allows manipulation, it allows coercion, it allows a whole bunch of things that, as I said, would be considered unlawful under common law, because under common law there's basically do no harm. That's the basic, and don't violate the free will of anyone else. You know, cause no loss. Well, it's going to cause a lot of apparent loss if the old system collapses, because the people that have benefited from it are going to lose what they benefited because they've done it all unlawfully, illegally even. Although they're two different things. Legal systems are based on man-made systems. Lawful is actually based on natural law. The basic, obvious rules of the universe, that it's wrong to hurt somebody or to make somebody do something against their will, to enslave someone, these are all wrongs. And they're natural, they're self-evident wrongs. We don't need anybody to teach us. All we need to do, if I took Rockefeller or Rothschild, any one of them, doesn't matter which one, and I was able to manipulate them and coerce them and torture them and force them to admit their crimes, I would be the criminal also. Not that they get off scot-free, but I would be the criminal because I'm obtaining their confession against their free will. Do you understand the point that I'm making? No one, listen, no one has the right to coerce, extort, or force anyone to believe anything, to think anything, to say anything, to confess to crimes that the other person thinks they committed, but they don't know that they committed. All of this is unlawful, and yet it's made lawful or legal under the current canon law system. Now, as I said, this is something that goes back before I ever heard of Swiss Indo or anything like that. When we signed up for Swiss Indo, when I agreed to be part of this peace delegation to help provide a way, a means to actually make the world better for everyone, or for the majority certainly, we signed up to do this under common law. This is a fact, because common law, again, goes back to source. And the OPPT filings took us back to force and foreclosed on all of the systems of law that were operating human slavery systems and operating extortion rackets and basically a criminal operation, which is what has been running our world for a very long time. Whether it's in the name of religion or in the name of politics or the state, it doesn't matter. It's all a criminal operation. Now, a lot of what I've studied throughout the years, as when I became aware of how unlawful and unjust our system was, a lot of it was finding remedy within the system. And one of the stalwart figures in trying to devise a system that provides remedies is Franco Collins in his Ucadia system. I've read a bunch of that. I haven't by any means mastered it. I'm certainly no expert, but it is a system based on canon law. And he is actually, as I understand it, he is or comes from a family of Jesuits. And so it's again, it's canon law or ecclesiastical law, and it's a law of it depends on hierarchy or levels of consciousness, if you will. Whereas babies are automatically not conscious of anything because they've forgotten everything. So they're the lowest on the totem pole. And many people never grow up past that level as far as their awareness goes. So the people that have knowledge have power. Knowledge is power. You've heard it said over and over again. Well, that still violates natural law. It still violates the principles of common law, of do no harm. Because when people arise to this position of thinking that they are superior to other people because of their knowledge or because of the paperwork that they filed, something is radically wrong with that system. Now, Mr. Sino signed up and created the CVACs under a common law system. That's how they were set up. But there have been people that have been trying to manipulate that away from common law into a system of Ucadia or the Franco Collins Ucadia system of canon law or ecclesiastical law, where again there are levels which they try to dismiss by saying, well, no, they're not levels, they're choices. No, they're levels. They're levels of people that know more and know less. And it doesn't matter how many levels you put in between, the levels that know more are given privileges that the people that know less are not given. This is a violation of human rights. It's a violation of personal freedom. It's a violation of liberty. It's a violation of everything that's decent and honorable. It is a dishonorable system Although many people have used Franco Collins' work to liberate themselves, at least temporarily, within the current maritime system, because they've figured out certain loopholes and how to make the system work for them. And somebody, my friend Neil, wrote to me recently, isn't that fun, knowing how we can make the system work for us? No, it's not, as long as it violates the rights of others. This is something, as I said, that has come up for me again and again and again. And I mean, I've listened to to Franco Collins stuff and other people's stuff that figure out loopholes and remedies, but it's still the same system. It's just figuring out how to manipulate it to our individual advantage. Well, that's not the kind of world that I want to help co-create. That's not the kind of kingdom that I want to put my energy in, because it violates the rights of the weakest in the culture. And this is not acceptable. It is not acceptable. It will never be acceptable to me or anybody that thinks through and understands the principles of these types of law. That is basically law that comes from the universe or comes from nature, and the system of law that is man-made to give power and prestige to certain people opposed or as differing from other people that do not have those privileges and do not have that prestige. This is huge for me, that you understand this and that everybody understands it. It's extremely important that we not allow anyone, no matter how knowledgeable they are, no matter how good their heart is, to come in and try to introduce another form of canon law, maybe on the surface a watered down form, but it still leaves the hierarchical principles intact that gives certain people privileges that others don't have. It must be based on equality of all, no exceptions. Nobody is unaccountable. Not the king, not the queen, not any title, not anybody of any level of claimed authority. Nobody is exempted or accepted from this, from the natural law. Everyone is under common law. That's common law. It's common to every being, regardless of all other factors and all other variables that might be put in place. And we don't want that. Those of us that want freedom for everybody, those of us that want a world that works for everybody, those of us that have been crying out for real justice to be administered and enforced, we do not want to go back to any kind of man-made law that gives anyone rights that everyone doesn't have. Do you understand? We all have the right to free speech. We all have the right to publish our ideas and our thoughts and to disseminate them to whoever is willing to listen. We all have the right to worship or not worship as we see fit. We all have the right to travel freely and to experience the world. We all have the right to live without being extorted and coerced into paying someone else's bills, when all of the wealth and all of the value is resident within each of us as an individual, even if we're unaware of it. Even if we don't know what our birthright is still our birthright. It doesn't matter the state of consciousness. Now, granted, in any new system that we incorporate, there has to be enough grace to allow people to grow up and to choose their level of how they're going to learn. Some are going to learn through religion or spirituality. Some are going to learn through education or science or whatever means each individual chooses. We're all in an awakening process in which our consciousness is evolving to a higher state of awareness, and we're recognizing most of all that the illusion of separation is the lie that everything has been based upon, and it's a lie. It's a fabrication. It's simply a distortion of reality. And we're coming into the recognition that all life, not just on Earth, but everywhere, is interconnected. All plant life, all animal life, all human life, all extraterrestrial life, all mineral life, all life, 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 life is all interconnected in a singular web. That's why it's called the universe. Now, we've experimented with duality for a long time, and duality is the gift that enabled us to understand these things, to comprehend what this is all about rather than just taking it for granted and not knowing. It allowed us the contrast to be able to determine or to develop, not determine, but to develop wisdom. Not just knowledge, but wisdom and how to apply the knowledge so that we could be compassionate to ourselves and to each other. And so that we can create a system together that honors life. And it honors life everywhere. And ultimately, we're probably not going to have to eat each other or eat things. I don't know. I'm not there yet. And I'm allowing the evolution of that awareness to come to me, to come to others, each in our own time. That's freedom. I want freedom for you. I want freedom for me. I want freedom for everybody and nobody to be left out, including those that have played dark roles. Which is why I'm so willing to forgive those that have played dark roles and say, it's okay. I love you anyway. But please, please don't perpetuate a system that harms other people and promotes injustice and promotes levels of equality, which when you have levels of equality, it's no longer equality, is it? Is it? The only role that I'm interested in playing is the role of a servant. And whatever title you attach before that or after that, servant is still the role. I serve, I'm here to serve the greater good on behalf of God or the Creator in you and in me. That's why I say namaste. That which is in me recognizes that the same thing is in you and that we are family. We are brothers and sisters. We are one. And we are the ones that we've been waiting for. And let's not let anyone, no matter how well-meaning or how well-versed in their system they are, not allow anyone to subvert us from the basic principles of common law and natural law, because if we do so, we've allowed the door to be open for more abuse down the road. Even if the system seems to clean itself up temporarily, if you keep that same system of man-made laws and of ecclesiastical and canon laws, you're going to end up with more corruption, because that system corrupts automatically. Only when everyone is truly equal can there be a law that works for everyone and creates a world that we can work together in and nurture and acknowledge and love one another. And then there will be peace on earth. Thank you for listening. Namaste.